Good afternoon everybody and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts, and today I have a summary of the extension project because as you guys know I had some time off work and I was using this time off work to try and get this extension done, and so therefore this is a summary of that work that's been done because I'm due to go back to work tomorrow. So this is this is a summary of as far as I've got with the extension project, and just to give you guys an overview as to what I've done and how far I've got. So first things first, I'd like to thank everybody for commenting on my last video because I haven't replied to everybody just yet. And also I'd like to thank everybody who corrected me on my Spitfire Hurricane, where I said it was 2 Spitfires and in fact it's just 1 Hurricane and 1 Spitfire. So thank you for all those who corrected me. I'm not so much up on my military. I know that they were very similar, and it's always something that's always got me mixed up. So yeah, thank you so much for those of you who corrected me on that. I'm more up on my civil aviation than I am on my military aviation, but thank you so much once again. So to start, I thought I'd, like I said, show you exactly how far I've got between this extension project, which is obviously the first bit that I've done was obviously to paint the walls, so that's all done and dusted. And the second thing was to build the L shape and to finish that. That was the second aim. And then if it was at all possible to do some work on the railway. So in some ways I've gained a lot more than I have in others, because I haven't quite finished the unit, and I will show you that shortly. But whilst I'm sitting here, I will show you some things that have turned up on the layout as well, but I'll also firstly show you the link, because this is the link that I've made, and I wanted to show you the back end because last time I showed you the just so you could see the construction of the battens, and then you could see that the fascia, the card fascia, is just wrapped around it and pinned onto that. And then you can see how it's pinned in, and that's the socket. And then it's all tied up tidily on both ends. This is simply to try and minimise the wiring catching and then pulling off any wiring any elsewhere, so I end up losing contact. But as you can see, this is how it's kind of made up, and it's battened across, and you can see it's 2 pieces of board. If I turn you around the other side, you'll see I haven't actually done anything since you last saw it. So it still looks exactly the same. So I haven't really touched this bit, but what I have done is done a lot of work onto the main layout itself on the extension. So I've managed to get the link done. Like I said, I was hoping just to have the 2 weeks to be able to get the units done, and that was kind of my plan. And if I was managed to get a little bit of work done on the railway day, I would have been really, really happy. So it's nice that I've actually, as you've seen on my previous video, the railway has actually moved on a fair amount. So before I show you the actual railway as a whole and the unit as a whole, I thought I'd show you, because it's probably easier for me to demonstrate these things to you whilst I'm sitting here, some of the things that have turned up for this particular area. So one of the things that's turned up is, like I said to you before, the signage has turned up for this area, which I'm looking forward to putting on. Now, we're not too far off doing that. And then some of the other things that have turned up is some more wheelie bins by Bachmann, some grip bins by Bachmann. I've also been using, well, I'll show you the full bag. I've got a half a bag there, but I'll show you the full bag. So I bought some of this Lichen Spring Green, or Lichen. I'm not really too sure. I can never remember which way around to call it, so forgive me if I've got the pronunciation wrong. And I've never really got on with this stuff, to be honest, but I was having a bit of a dilemma with the sheer face that I was having around Goswell sidings and what I was going to do. And I was originally thinking of putting the doing my rock molds and doing that. But then I decided to have a go at this because I wanted to have a go at this overgrown look, which I thought was really quite good. So I do have half a bag there because I've used the other half on the layout, which I'll show you. But I needed to get some more in any case, and I won't need all of this. However, as the layout progresses and moves forward, anything that doesn't get used just gets used elsewhere. So I ended up buying another bag for that. And I got that whilst I was in Eastleigh, because I was in Eastleigh the other day, as you know, as any of those who saw my last video saw that I was just filming some trains. So I went to AC Models whilst I was there in Eastleigh. And whilst I was in Eastleigh, I picked up a new item. And I was actually quite surprised at the price, to be honest, because these kind of things tend to go for quite a bit of money these days. But this wasn't actually too bad. I managed to find this in AC Models of Eastleigh, like I said, and I wanted to get a new signal box for the area. Now, this wasn't quite the signal box that I was after. However, if I do find the signal box that I'm after still, I might swap it out and put this signal box that I've got currently over in the new extension in the bedroom. So there's a possibility that it may not stay there, it may move, and I might swap the signal boxes over. However, I really did like this signal box, and I liked the price especially as well, because I thought it was a really good price for what it is. And this is a Hornby period signal price. Anyway, this is a Hornby signal box, and the price, as you can see on the box, was £22.75. However, I didn't actually pay £22.75. They know me in AC Models and obviously, so they always give me a slight discount. But I think they probably give a certain amount of discount to most people anyway. But I did get a slight discount, so this wasn't really quite the price that I actually paid for it. And actually, in the flesh, it's actually really, really nice. I was really, really surprised. And I was also surprised at the size, because considering that the price that I paid, usually for that sort of money, you kind of get something quite small, but it's actually quite beefy. And I really, really like it. And it's really, really well made. And it's not in two pieces either. I had a Bachmann signal box, the BR type one, and the lid lifts off. The nice thing is that this one's actually hollow. So I could, in theory, make a sort of inside and slot it in, and then you could do it that way from underneath, which is something I could do if I really want to put some detail in, which I am very tempted to do. Also, March West Junction, I was watching him last night, and he was having and I think it's also to do with Hornby as well, they'd advertise this Gauge Master sort of sounds for the signal box. I quite like the idea of that, so I might very well invest in that and then maybe slot it underneath here along the signal box on the bottom part. So this signal box is absolutely beautiful, and it doesn't cost the earth. It only cost me £22.75, but it didn't actually cost me £22.75 because of the discount, so it probably cost me about £21.50 or something like that, who knows. But still, the signal box that I was looking at, there was a few of them on eBay, was £19.99, but when you added the postage on it, it would have brought it out pretty much to slightly more than this one. But when I went back, I couldn't find it, so it must have sold it. So, but if I do find it, I might still get it, and then, like I said, I might put that here, which might be better suited, and then maybe move this one over there. But it's an absolutely gorgeous signal box. Totally love it. Put it back to where it's going to sit, and I'll show you that where it's going to sit on the layout afterwards. The next thing to talk to you about is I've actually been doing quite a bit of scratch building of late, and it was a thought that occurred to me last week when I decided that this was going to be like old sidings, and I was looking at the buildings there, and I was wondering what I could find that might be appropriate for that kind of sidings. And I was trawling on eBay as you do, and all these various other sites, to see what Bachmann was doing, to see what Hornby was doing, to see what I could find. And I thought it occurred to me, and I've got a load of card here, and I'm always scratch building stuff anyway. I have no problems with scratch building anything. So I was looking in my spares box, and I found a load of spare plastic card sheets of various types. And I thought, you know what, I've got actually some spare plastic card, enough here to be able to make a little building of my own. So between the card, the plastic card, and the sandpaper, I managed to make myself a little building, and here it is. So this is a nice little building now, and this was based at the one at Earl Sidings. It's not a replica or anything, but it was just something that's something along those lines. So it's plastic. It's made out of card essentially, and then it's got plastic card. It's wrapped in plastic card, and then the windows were made out of packets of like points and things like that. Like Tony says on his videos, he saves all these packets from the points that he buys from Pico, and then you can use those clear packaging to create windows and things. So I had some of that kind of type of thing lying around, so I managed to make the windows. The actual lines for the windows was thanks to John Warner. It's a tip that I've never forgotten that he mentioned to me, God knows how many years ago, when I was at Behringer and I was struggling, and he kind of suggested to me, why don't you get some self-adhesive labels and then slice them up to create these thin lines, and then you can create sort of frames out of them. And that's what I did. So I painted the label in green, and then I cut the slivers out and to create these kind of window frames and posts and things. So that's another top tip from John Warner to me, and like I said, I then pass it on to those of you who didn't know that. So, and again, all these YouTubers and things that kind of helped me along my way to build things, it's fabulous. So it's good that we all help one another. So the plastic card, like I said, was just some corrugated plastic card that I got from my local model shop. The roof is made out of sandpaper, and I've just washed it down with some Nuln oil and let it drop down to give it that kind of greasy, dirty effect. So absolutely brilliant. So that's a nice little building for the layout. And like I said, I was looking on eBay and seeing if I could find something appropriate, or through other sites for Bachmanns and stuff like that, but I couldn't find anything. And in the end, this has literally cost me nothing. This is actually a freebie because I had the paint, I had the plastic card, so it literally all it cost me was my time. And this was like a few hours work in the evening, and by the end of the evening I had a building painted up and ready to go. So it hasn't really cost me anything, and I do enjoy scratch building. I just really love it. So much so that here's my more recent sort of major scratch build, again for the layout, and then you'll see it on the layout shortly, but I'll give you a more closer look at it. Now, the last time I sort of showed you the layout, you kind of saw it, and you kind of saw the end where it goes off to the link, and that kind of that's the bit that was kind of done. But this end towards the bedroom end, I was still kind of oohing and ahhing and what I was going to do and how I was going to get around that. So I decided to make myself a little module last night. So I've made, between last night and today, I've made, and I won't say I finished this because I haven't. There's still things to do on this, but I'll give you a shout and show you how far I've got. I basically made myself a bridge, and this is made out of plastic card. And it's completely scratch built. This is completely out of nothing. The only money I've spent on this was the plastic card itself. I bought 2 sheets of plastic card, and that was enough because I already had some plastic card left over. So on the top, you kind of got like a road, and that road is like a priority road. So it goes both ways, but like one side's got priority over the other. because it wasn't really quite wide enough for 2 lanes, and I didn't really want to take up too much space to cross over that bit. So that's how I've made it, and also to make it sturdy so it's nice and square so it fits on that corner perfectly. And like I said, it's made out of plasticard. Now this plasticard is actually O gauge plasticard, because the reason being for that is so the stonework, as you can see, is so prominent. It hasn't been weathered or not or anything like that yet, so it still needs weathering, it still needs toning down. This is literally just a paint job as things stand with this unit. There's no, like I said, this side here still needs to be painted up in the black just to give it a bit more depth. You've got the matchsticks here because the lining underneath is slightly different. It's detailed, as you can see, with stonework, but it is different stonework to that on the bottom, and you do find that quite a lot on bridges. And that's the same over here. And it's been painted in a Vallejo brown, but like I said, it isn't finished by any stretch of the imagination. It still needs capping stones and stuff like that, and all the rest of it. The actual, something I've learned recently, and this goes back to the other tunnel mouth that I did over at Pinnell's Tunnel, and that's been named after my friend over at Tony Northeastern. So I've managed to do the capping stones around there, you can just about see it. And this one here is a Wills kit. This is a Wills kit arch. And I made this deep enough or tall enough so I could fit a lorry through here. So I took a lorry and I put it through there just to test the dimensions so it could fit, to make sure it did. Because the premise is that this is the entrance and exit to Goswell Sidings, and so therefore vans and large lorries can get through here in order to fill up and provide products and materials to the sidings. And then you got this kind of strange kind of entrance porthole. This is 2 sidings, but this one's a 3. And I'll show you that on the layout in a minute as to how it works. But this is my sort of latest little project, my little module that I've done. And let's get it onto the layout, and I'll show you the layout in a bit more detail. So if we go to the unit first, before we go to the layout, you can see it's all now painted up. It's all now ready to go. The only thing I haven't done, which I need to do, is do the doors. And that's really the main thing. I've attached a Digitrack system, and as you've seen previous, it does actually work. So that's now all set up and ready to go, but I just need to just do the wiring and cabling properly for that. On this side is pretty much the same story. It's pretty much done, but needs the doors done. But once the doors are done, this one's going to have a single door, whereas the other side's going to have dual doors. But as you can see, it's all nicely painted up. It's all now ready to go, and I am starting to use it. But like I said, I haven't sort of set it up properly. This is just to get some stuff out of the bedroom, just to tidy things up a little bit. So we now start moving on to the layout itself, and so what I've decided to do, as you can see, I used to have a block here, and used to made out the Oasis block. I've now used the lichen, stroke lichen, whatever, I think it's lichen, anyway, whatever it is. I've used that, and they said you shouldn't buy just one colour, you should always mix it up and vary it. So what I did is I just bought the one colour, and I've then got my spray cans out and sprayed it with some Sleeper Grime, because that's what I had, which is sort of brown, to give it a bit of a browny tinge, a bit of a wintry tinge. Like I said, I haven't finished with this yet, so I'm still working on this, and I've also given it a bit of a green tinge as well. And as you can see, the signal box is just going to sit just over there. When you look at the signal box from this side, I think it's quite a nice view, and I actually think that when the trains come around this corner, it'll be quite a nice view as well. Like I said before, I've got the catch pits there, I've got the matchsticks laid, so that's going to be for the cable trunking and everything like that. And like I said, I think it's going to look really nice, the signal box in that corner. Like I said, I might not actually swap it out, but I actually do like that signal box a lot. As soon as I saw it, I really liked it. So as we move along here, I've got a Mark II network rail coach. I was just using that for some testing, but as you can see, the liking sort of finishes about here. So I needed to just get some more to finish off this area, but because I wasn't sure what was going on down at the other end, I decided against sort of laying any more liching until I was sort of sure as to what I was going to do. So as you get to here, you can see that I've added a couple of ground signals. These are non-working ones by ratio. And then you kind of see what I've been up to over here. So from this view, you can see that sort of the positioning of the buildings and what else I've been up to. I've done the road, but I haven't, like I said, again, that is just freshly painted. It needs a bit of sanding down just so I can age it a bit. But it's made in the same way as all the other ways I've done it, which is basically using matchsticks and filler. So basically I used the matchsticks to outline the area I wanted to fill, and then I've used some filler to lay it to make the road surface. But what I did do is I mixed some pigment, some black pigment in with the white filler to give it the grey tinge, so it's grey throughout. So when you sand it, it's still going to be grey throughout. So it's not just paint just sitting on the top, it's actually grey all the way through the filler. These sort of railings are from Behringer from all them years ago. These are ex-railings from Pico subway steps that I've had. So I've given them a bit of a paint job and just to sort of outline it. And then I went to visit my friend Nigel over at Cotton End, and he kindly gave me a double slip. So that double slip has now gone in there, which allows me to put in a siding, a Loco stabling point siding just there, which is something I saw at All Sidings when I was watching Don Coffey, and I wanted to model that. I've ordered a fuel Bowsers, a pack of 2 fuel Bowsers from Shedring, which was due some point this week, I guess. So they'll be going sitting there, so that'll be another little bit of detail there. So I've got a Land Rover just here, just as one of the employees maybe. I've got a van here just to show you that this would be the entrance and exit point here. I've got a forklift here, maybe to pick up some oil drums or something. And so you can sort of see how this end is finished. Like I said, it isn't, because I need to tone down this bridge because it looks quite brown at the moment. Here I've got the bus on top, and this is the bus that John bought for me. This is sitting here on this end of the layout because it's just to give, the bus kind of gives a sort of impression that it's in the countryside. So it's not quite in town, it's not quite in London. So this is just like on the outskirts. So that's why we're using this kind of bus here. I might stick another car there or something maybe, who knows. And then if I kind of take you down a bit, you can see that the stabling point comes into there. And that finishes just over there. So, and I've tested this so you get a full locomotive in there. So the idea is that maybe where that coach is, that like before, like I showed you before, you can bring the cement tankers in, drop them off, and then the loco can then pull into this stabling siding here and just wait for its next turn, or maybe pick up some fuel before its next journey. And then maybe if the driver's having a break or something or needs to use a loo, there's some canteen facilities or some facilities here that he could be using. Or maybe if this is the depot he signs on at, so he can leave his vehicle here and, you know, sign on here and then pick up his loco from here or whatever. And then obviously you've got the entrance and exit point for the vehicles, so they can come in and park up for the day or whatever to do their work. Or if you've got goods coming in and out to deliver to the sidings, then they've got a point of getting in and out. So that's kind of the whole premise of how this is all going to work. And this is a relatively simple track plan, which I really like. One of the other things is I want to get a plaque for here, but I haven't got that yet. And one of the other things I have bought, which I haven't mentioned yet, is I picked up some, I've never used these. This is ID back scenes. This is N-Gage. So I've used N-Gage back scenes before. They do work. They're slightly shorter, and so they'll fit on here, on this back scene. So as you can see, that's where the top of the back scene finishes, just there. You could probably tell by that clip there that holds it together. So we're going to put these back scenes here. It's just trees, and this is just to try and add some depth. I'm going to cut out, it comes with sky as well, but I'm going to cut out all the sky. I'm just going to cut the outline of the trees and stick the trees to the back. So it says it's 10 feet in length, so that is enough to cover that and that, and up to the end there, and a little bit of the link, I should say. So this concludes the end of today's video, and so this is how far we've got with the layout in terms of the extension, in terms of the build, and in terms of how the railway is progressing on top of the extension. It's not too far off done, to be perfectly honest with you, which is great. It won't sort of take me too long to finish, and then hopefully at some point when I've got a next proper break through work, whether it be a long weekend or scheduled time off for whatever reason, then I can probably try and make a start on getting the next part of it done, because I'm trying to be quite quick about this, maybe even if I haven't quite finished it, and the reason being is I really want to get to the fiddle yard, which is going to be in the bedroom, not only because of my bedroom space in terms of my clothes and trying to organise that side of things, the clothes, the shoes, just space for things like that, which I really desperately need. And also it's just because I want to get the fiddle yard done so I can actually put other trains on the layout. At the moment there is absolutely no storage on the layout, so I'm tending to sort of, when I'm playing trains, it's always the same trains that are on the track. So, and that's why there hasn't really been much of a running session, because there's a lot of stuff that isn't on the layout at the moment. It's all boxed away. So that's one of the reasons why I really want to crack on with the fiddle yard, get that done, then I can start unpacking things and start putting stuff over there, and then I can have a choice of trains to start running again on the layout. So anyway, until the next time, it's bye from Mill and Horn Districts. And thank you for watching and taking the time to watching, taking the time to comment and subscribe. So take care, and until next time, it's bye from me. Bye bye.